In 1955, a young nation sought to define its voice in world affairs. At Sapru House in Delhi, the Indian School of International Studies, today's School of International Studies at Jawaharlal Nehru University, was born. "70 years later, SIS stands as a beacon of scholarship, diplomacy, and intellectual leadership. SIS was conceived with a bold vision. India needed not just diplomats, but thinkers who could interpret world affairs through Indian eyes. The idea was to embrace a multidisciplinary structure and an intellectual commitment to understanding the complexities of the changing world. Visionaries like Hridaynath Kunzuru, A. Appadurai, and M.S. Rajan laid its foundations. Its journal, International Studies, launched in 1959, became India's first scholarly platform in the field, and its seminars brought global intellectuals to Delhi. The aim was clear: to produce knowledge rooted in Indian realities, not borrowed paradigms.
I came to Delhi, an 18-year-old boy, exactly 60 years back, and I entered the portals of Sapru House, where Indian School of International Studies was located. That is the parent institution which spawned the School of International Studies in Jawaharlal Nehru University. And whatever I am, I owe it to the Indian School of International Studies and School of International Studies. Indian School of International Studies boasted of a student community which was truly international. Teachers were equally eminent. I remember Hans Marganto coming and teaching us his realist theory.
In 1970, ISIS merged with the newly founded Jawaharlal Nehru University. It was a turning point. Now called the School of International Studies, SIS expanded into teaching, offering master's and MPhil programs. Centers dedicated to the study of regions ranging from South Asia, East Asia, and West Asia to the Americas, Africa, the Soviet Union, and Europe flourished. Scholars like Urmila Fadnis, G.P. Deshpande, P.A.N. Murthy, R.P. Anand, Rahmatullah Khan, Bimal Prasad, and others gave SIS its intellectual breadth. This was also the time when JNU's inclusive entrance exams opened the doors for students from every corner of India, enriching the school's diversity and democratic spirit.
I followed my father, the late J.N. Dikshit's footsteps, who was among the first students at SIS when it was located at Sapru House. As we celebrate 70 years of the founding of the School of International Studies, we honor a legacy of critical thought, global engagement, and academic excellence. What made studying at SIS truly special for me was being part of an India rich in its diversity and vibrant in its spirit.
The 1990s brought profound changes. With the Cold War's end, globalization, and India's liberalization, SIS reimagined itself. A new generation of scholars joined, bringing fresh ideas by introducing critical and post-colonial IR theory and engaging with debates on multilateralism, globalization, environment, and security, while deepening SIS's core strengths in area of studies and international law. The launch of the MA in Economics World Economy bridged politics and economics for a globalizing India. Faculty played vital roles in shaping India's nuclear doctrine, WTO negotiations, and track to diplomacy. SIS was not just observing history, it was part of it.
In SIS classrooms, we have always sought to blend cutting-edge theory and innovative concepts with empirical insights from the field and policy relevant analysis. Now, this admixture of theory and policy manifested itself quite powerfully in the years preceding the Shakti nuclear tests of 1998.
In the 21st century, while rooted in its strengths in diplomacy, security studies and regional expertise, SIS has expanded into new frontiers. Environmental governance, technology, gender, peace and conflict resolution, geopolitics of climate change and regions like Indo-Pacific. SIS shaped the very grammar of an Indian imagination of world affairs. Drawing from the wisdom of the Arthashastra, guided by the quiet strength of ahimsa and dharma, and rooted in the enduring art of civilizational diplomacy. Alumni like Subramaniam Jaishankar, Nirmala Sitharaman, Amitav Acharya, Santi Shri Dhulipudi Pandit carry the school's influence into diplomacy, government and global academia.
I'm truly delighted to be back in JNU and very privileged to be invited to deliver the Professor Hridayanath Kundru Memorial Lecture. As you all know, he was the founder of the Indian Council of World Affairs, that is now closely associated with the Ministry of External Affairs, and where certainly students of my generation of JNU spent a lot of our time. He was also responsible for starting the Indian School of International Studies that became SIS in JNU, where I did my MPhil and PhD.
Memories are very fresh. JNU has its own imprint in our minds and the way it evolves a person. So let me pay my tributes and respects to the institution from where I've really learnt a lot.
Not only as a Vice Chancellor at this very important time in the history of the school, which is one of its kind, not only in Asia, but in the world. I was also a student in the CPOD division from 1985 to 90. It was the school that groomed me to become the first woman Vice Chancellor of this very university, which I never thought I would. And this school is the topmost in Asia, as well as been getting JNU excellent ranks. And the levels, different centers and area studies is phenomenal, and the students that it's produced, as well as the faculty, are of tremendous international repute.
I think one of the most important job as an academic is to inculcate an ability to move beyond the narrow confines of our own surroundings and think and imagine things on global scale. SIS as an institution has given me that, and most importantly, it is a place that gives us people, the students from varied social backgrounds, a possibility of doing something and making a name for maybe ourselves.
I always wanted to be at a place where I can get academic exposure and learn IR from the best faculty, and SIS has given me exactly that platform. Here we learn not just from academic classes, but various workshops and seminars which have been organized.
For 70 years, SIS has indigenized the study of international relations. Long before global IR became a buzzword, its scholars questioned Eurocentric theories and built frameworks from Indian traditions. Its impact has been dual, nurturing policy-relevant scholarship while encouraging fearless intellectual inquiry. Students were taught not just to absorb knowledge, but to question it, to see dissent as dialogue and debate as discovery. That democratic spirit remains SIS's greatest strength.
Die School of International Studies der JNU ist weltweit für ihre kritischen Ansätze und Theorien bekannt, die in Europa, aber auch in Deutschland in den Studiengängen oftmals viel zu kurz kommen. Und das ist auch der Grund, warum ich mich für die JNU entschieden habe.
स्कुल अफ इन्टरनेसनल स्टडिज विगत 70 वर्षदेखि अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय राजनीति, कूटनीति, सुरक्षा अनुसन्धान, क्षेत्रीय अनुसन्धान लगायत विभिन्न क्षेत्रमा उच्च स्तरीय शिक्षा प्रदान गर्दै आएको एउटा स्कुल हो।
В факультете международных исследований мне посчастливилось познакомиться с очень интересными, глубоко знающими профессорами. Их подход уникальный, от моего понятия очень необычный.
私はインドから見た外交や国際情勢について学んでいます。この大学では日本をはじめ世界各国の教授や専門家から特別講義を受けることもできます。このような環境で勉強できることをとても嬉しく思っています。
70 years ago, SIS began as an experiment. Today, it is among world's foremost schools of international studies, standing at the crossroads of scholarship and policy, India and the world. SIS is more than its buildings, faculty or programs. It is an idea, born in the fires of independence, tempered through 7 decades of change and revival. It carries a quiet conviction that knowledge of the world is power, and that power which must be forged, questioned and carried forward, generation after generation, like a torch passed through time.
The School of International Studies at Jawaharlal Nehru University is not just one of the oldest schools anywhere in Asia, but also the most prestigious. The School of International Studies was born in 1955, and we are celebrating its 70th anniversary this year. It was born of a visionary impulse that India needed not just practitioners on foreign policy, but also scholars who could craft a distinct Indian point of view. Today, as we celebrate the 70th anniversary, it's a time for reflection. It's a time to look back, but also a chance to look ahead. I believe that SIS, if it performs the role of a critical, plural institution with a sense of its own purpose, it can count in the next 70 years to be as relevant and to be as intellectually meaningful as the last 7.
As it steps into its 8th decade, SIS carries forward a promise to think independently, to speak fearlessly, and to contribute ideas for a more sustainable, humane, and just world. This is not just the story of an institution, but of India's journey to engage the world on its own terms. This is the story of SIS at 70.